Hey, welcome to an episode of Beers, Jack, and Barbecue. So I'm Craig, man behind the camera's Jack. Today we're doing a dry aged, so 42 day dry aged New York strips. We're going to put the link in there, but we actually did the dry aging ourselves. Used those umami bags, took a whole New York strip, dry aged it, trimmed it up, and when you watch that episode, you'll see that the steaks actually got really small, because at the time I bought the smallest whole New York strip I could find, because my thought of having something go wrong and wasting a large roast. So for first try, but had them in the freezer for quite a while, and Jack and I were talking, we're like, hey, we haven't shot the dry aged ones in a while, so thought we'd get the Jumbo Joe out and we'll cook some steaks. So you see I actually have 4 here because they're small. Last time we only each had 1, but I think I took the 2 biggest ones we cooked the first time. And the one thing we found out with the dry aging, it was super rich and super beefy flavored. So we may only eat one of these tonight ourselves once this is all over, but we'll see what happens. So we'll be on the Jumbo Joe shortly, and we'll see you then. All right, let's get the steaks on. We're gonna do them indirect. I got the Slow N Sear charcoal basket in the Jumbo Joe. What I didn't mention in the beginning was did some Killer Hogs Steak Rub. Hopefully that showed up for you. Just gonna I have the meter out. I'm just gonna do 1 steak, because honestly, since these are pretty thin, I'm only probably go to maybe 75, 80 degrees. I'm gonna decide as we go here. Because of being thin, it's just gonna be basically getting these things seared. This is the fat side down right now. Like I said, we're going to let them go. Maybe it gets to about 60 degrees or so, and I might just flip them over, and then we're going to just start the searing process right away, because we like medium rare, so I don't want to overdo them. So we'll see you back shortly. All right, so we just went above 60. Like I said, I'm going to bring them off, or just spin them, just to turn them, just to promote some even heating. Like I said, not trying to do too much with them. Get some of the fat cooking as well, because we're going to start searing when it gets to 80 or 85, I think is what it's going to be. Because being that these are almost kind of rectangular-ish, I might just do all sides, and that way I'll still hopefully be medium rare in the center. So we'll be back here shortly when it gets a little hotter. All right, so we're going to start searing them off here. Just realized I had the lid on the wrong way there, but that's no big deal, because I just really wanted them to warm up. So I am going to remove the meter off that one, because I don't want to get that part of the flames. And all it was being used for was a guide at that point. Now I'm assuming some of the middle ones are going to get done a little bit quicker, so I'm actually going to leave the grill wide open until things get rolling here. Be another minute, and I'm going to start timing them. We'll do a minute aside and maybe switch some things around in between. All right, that was 1 minute. Let's do some moving around. Like I said, got a coal caught there. Just going to flip around. Like I said, I'm going to do all sides. So this one was on the end. I'm going to move this to the middle. And we usually do 2 minutes aside, a minute at a time. Throw that one on the outside, this one to the inside. And we'll go another minute here. Get these a little closer that way. And we'll have to pay attention because of the fat on there. All right, we're going to spin them off again and flip them again. Part of the fire was my own fault today. I just didn't have it going as soon as I should have today. But we're still getting an okay sear going on here. So, like I said, I'm going to work on the side here now. The opposite side, the one we just did. And we'll go another minute on this side here. But boy, this charcoal basket, I said, once this fire is really ripping, which it should be shortly here, these are going to be searing nicely. All right, so that's another minute. I think we can afford a little more. I did bring my thermopop out just to check them out. I'm going to go fat side down now. Just maybe that's only going to last about 30 seconds aside, just because that's going to want to take off quickly, and then we'll get another sear going. on the opposite side of that. All right, wasn't quite 30 seconds, but we got a lot of flame happening there, so didn't want to overdo the fat. That looks perfect. It's like I planned that. If I try to leave this go a minute here now, we'll see how the flames react to it, but I'll let you know. All right, so that was another minute. Flames seem to settle down. I'm actually going to take a reading on some of these now just to kind of make sure where we're at. Like I said, we started doing this when it was only about 80 some degrees. So let's kind of see if we can. A little too far there. Yeah, that one's like 126 it was. That one's a little cooler. Those are 130 already, so the biggest one was the only one that was really below, and that's if I was hitting it just right as well. 135. So I'm actually just going to bring, I'm going to leave these sit on the grill, bring the bigger one in for a little bit more searing on both sides, and then the rest I'm just going to kind of let hang out. It'll still get some heat on it and it'll still keep going, but it was already hitting 130, and we often like to pull stuff at 125, so let these go for just a little bit and we'll flip this one more time. All right, let's just give this one a flip. Got a nice sear going on there. All right, so this is, I'm going to pull them off and let them rest. Nice little sear going on there. See if we can't get, that was the lead. I double checked them all again, and some are like 132, and they're going to continue to climb a little bit. But just a little bit on the sear part there. Boy, they look nice. We'll bring it back when we cut into them. I'm going to tend them for about 10 minutes, and then we'll cut into them. As always, cheers. So here we are, end of the cook. 42-day dry-aged New York strips. Like I mentioned in the beginning, we did this in the Ume bags. Watch that video. It's a pretty interesting one. But we did get a very small New York strip because I didn't want to ruin something that was expensive trying to do my first dry age. But it worked out nice. Our first steaks were very good, but that was probably about 6 months ago when we actually ate the first ones we had. So normally I'm a big fan of dry brining beforehand, and I'm always saying about 24 hours in advance. Since they were dry aged, I didn't want to do a whole lot to them. Just about an hour and a half before we started to cook, I did Killer Hogs Steak Rub. Something new I just got. We actually just used it on another cook that you'll see depending on when this one comes out, before or after that one. But really is a good flavor. But basically, you know, garlic, salt, onion type flavor, pepper in there. It's a good flavor. So like I said, did them pretty quick because they're so small. Got to about 65 degrees, flipped them on the indirect side, got them to about 80 or so, and started searing at that point already, just because they're so small. The Slow N Sear charcoal basket just does a nice job with this grill. Basically cuts it in half, and it's not an easy spin grate, but the grate spins. So it actually, like I said, because of the Slow N Sear product, I thought about spinning that grate, and it works out perfect. So let's cut into one, see what we got. So yeah, that was one thing I was worried about. This is probably already past medium on that way. And this one's probably at the medium rare. These were reading about 130 something at that point, just from the searing we did. But I'm still with the dry age. I'm still thinking they're going to be fine. Let's take a little taste test. With that dry age, just that super beefy flavor that it gives to this. Can taste a hint of the rub because I didn't go heavy with it because, again, they were dry aged, so I didn't want to overdo it. But, you know, I'm pleased with it. I'm a little disappointed with that one, but you know what? I'm going to cut into a second one just to see how we fell with this, because I was reading them, and that's about the same. Kind of looking at medium there on this one. So a little disappointed that it got that far, but you know what? You learn every time you do a cook, and that's fine. These are still going to be good steaks. No issue doing them. You might notice I have a new shirt on here. So my daughter makes these shirts, or our daughter makes these shirts on our own. If anybody has any interest, our email address is in the show more information. Shoot us an email if you're interested in getting a shirt. We're looking at probably 25 bucks to do a shirt. We're going to do them pretty much get almost any color you want, any size you want, and thinking $25, and that's going to be shipped for the price. We kind of figured out if it gets interest, we'll probably be able to bring the price down a little bit by ordering in bulk, but I don't see that happening right now yet. But if you're interested, do that. So hopefully everything you hear, you like what you're seeing. You know that sometimes you don't hit that perfect steak, but like I said, these will still be good. Subscribe to the channel, click to the bell, get notifications, and we'll see you next time.